Hello, everybody. This is one more attempt. There are many videos on YouTube describing Sanskrit grammar and especially Ashtadhyayi. These days, there are a lot of videos. Most of them they have a static picture, and there's essentially it's an MP3 audio file, which is sort of hard to relate. Uh, and some of them they are available good quality material, but it's available in Hindi, not in English, where with the English medium basically you can reach to a wider audience much quicker compared to any vernacular mediums. So I'm uh, trying I'm making another I'm making an attempt to see if I can create a good quality uh, learning material for Ashtadhyayi. Uh, Ashtadhyayi is basically meta rules for Sanskrit grammar. It's been, I think, the historians have concluded that the date must have been at least 1500 to 2000 years BC. And this is um, very disputed, debatable, nobody knows. We know it was written by Panini, and after that, there are many other teachers like Katyayana came, he wrote many other meta rules along with it as a sort of an addendum to the original Ashtadhyayi written by Maharshi Panini. And then finally, Patanjali came, the rishi who wrote Yoga Shastra, who gave yoga to the world. He basically set the rules, and since then nobody modified. There are many other variations of the book. Some call it Siddhant Kaumudi came, then Laghu Siddhant Kaumudi came, then Madhya Siddhant Kaumudi. So many different Kaumudis came, but nobody could basically make any fundamental changes to the structure of this book. And we'll learn more about it, what it is, and uh, what's the content. We will learn as we progress. Let's start with Shanti Mantra. I already gave some introduction. Usually, it's sort of a tradition, and some people say different shlokas, but I picked this one. This is the most common one used for teachers and students. So let's say it. Om सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. This is overview of what I will be talking about in this presentation. I just want to set some ground rules. So basically, set the expectations from these lessons, these videos. Then the sort of method of teaching that, or basically learning together, I should say, we'll be following. What are the works of Maharshi Panini? And we'll end today's lesson with Sanskrit alphabets, which is sort of fundamental. They're not called alphabets, but we'll get to that point. So here are some of the ground rules. I'll try to use as much English as possible when I explain, but there are certain phrases which are basically related and very relevant to this Sanskrit grammar and this particular text. I wouldn't be translating into any English equivalent. Uh, I'll I'll probably I'll probably explain what it is, but I wouldn't call this lat lakara as present tense. And when I started learning English, I started with alphabets. The alphabets were not taught to me in any of my local language that I could speak and that I was studying in. I was straight taught English alphabets, and that's how I learned English. So we will use the same concept. We'll learn the Sanskrit alphabets, and that's how we are going to learn Sanskrit. No Romanized text, no converting into any other script, and then trying to mispronounce and try to get the pronunciation right and all those kind of issues. We won't be doing that. Uh, I believe that's how it should be done, and that's how we'll follow in this lesson. And I just want to make this clear, I'm not an expert, just like everybody else. I'm a student. But many of my teachers told me that if I explain something, if I teach something to somebody, then the concept will base, first of all, I'll understand the concept and then I'll identify the knowledge gaps. Because if I couldn't teach somebody, that means I didn't ingest the material. I didn't basically understood the material correctly. So with that idea, these videos are not sort of professional level um, teaching, but these are more like uh, for identifying my knowledge gaps. And I'm disabling the comments. I didn't want to have a chain of comments back and forth and everything. If anybody has a question, they can always reach me at, at this email. Question, comments, feedback, negative feedback, positive feedback, anything. You can reach me on the email. I just didn't like having like a chain of comments underneath YouTube videos. Uh, that's a total waste of people's time. Method of teaching. Let me see if I can quickly show you. Me and my friends, we created these Evernote notes, and we'll be using this as a reference, as a starting point, and we'll get to that more. I have seen many places where Ashtadhyayi sutras are available, some other texts are available. Like if you click on this link, it takes you, see, different material is available. This is all great, but at one point I wanted to create sort of a combined works of Panini, which you can see here: Ashtadhyayi, Ganapatha, Dhatupatha, Panini Siksha, Unadi Kosha. And the idea is, with just a click of a button, you should be able to toggle everything from one text to another, and see the content of it without much overlap, interference, and this book is available. This one notebook, one Evernote book. Evernote is a free software. It gives you 60 GB, 60 MB worth of data to free users, and limits only on 2 devices. You can put on a phone on a PC, or a computer and a PC, or 2 phones, 2 mobile devices. It's worth checking. I'll post the link under the description if you want to subscribe to this book. Any updates that happens, uh, you'll be able to you get the notification on the latest update. And a lot of work went into this, so mostly the Evernote book is going to be read only. I didn't want people who are understanding and digesting the concept of Evernote making the changes or removing the meta tags, or the tags that we associated with it. It went, a lot of thinking and planning went into it, so I didn't want to corrupt the system. So I apologize for being making it read only. But once somebody has shown enough skills, saying they are very familiar, the access can be easily changed to read and write. We'll be learning Ashtadhyayi in the original order, not any of the Kaumudi style teaching. So let me show you which book we'll be following. This is the book we'll start with, and I think This is a PDF available on archive.org. If not, then I'll try to paste the link in the description below. So these are Ashtadhyayi. See, you can see the sutras, and people who do not understand, who cannot read this particular script called Devanagari, don't need to worry. It's much easier. It looks intimidating at the beginning. It's not as bad. Especially English speaking people, or who do not speak any of the Indian languages. They're the ones who can find this very daunting, but it's not that bad. I mean, it's a very structured language. If you love mathematics, you would love this language. Uh, and I'll try to describe these letters, and I just want to make everybody aware that there are no silent letters. This is exactly, you pronounce exactly the way you write it, and you write it exactly the way you pronounce it. Each sound is unique and it has a unique symbol. There are some combining rules to create the compounds, and we will learn as we go. But for the beginners, there are no silent letters, or there is no silent uh, basically group of letters or compounds in it, and there is no discrepancy, like you write put put, then in if it is Sanskrit, and like, imagine English alphabet is like Sanskrit, then the rule would be put put will make but but, or if but but is the rule, then put will be put. There is no uh, there are no sort of mismatches or any crazy rules like that, and we will learn as we go along. uh, yep. And this book, Panini Ashtadhyayi, if you look, it's a small book, and it's starting on page 19 and ending on page 106, so about 87 pages, and the first page is almost gone. And these are very small meta rules, and we will understand what is the significance of it, and all that as we learn more about it. And the red and black ink that you see in this, it's um, basically if you say the pronunciation, it's sort of a pronunciation guide where you should stop. Like, this is eco, guna, vriddhi. Then same way, if you want to look at mukha, nasika, vachano, anu, nasika, nasikaha. So where to stop it? If the first time, if somebody is reading this text, they wouldn't know where to pause it, where to stop it, and people can read this as na, dha, tulopa, ar, dha, dhatu, ke, like that. So it is very easy one. There are many other complicated ones if you look, um, like long sutras. And if, let me give you an example. I think there should be one right here. See, if they don't put this one, so it's sort of hard. You can see mruda mrudu, like that. Uh, so this can create sort of a confusion, and it's not a perfect way of writing. So the guys who wrote this book, they did a marvelous job of putting where to pause it. So if you want to read this, you will read like mruda, mruda, gudha, kusha, klisha, vada, vasaha, twa. Or once you understand and memorize it, you can say mruda, mruda, gudha, kusha, klisha, vada, vasatva, ruda, vida, musha, grahisva, pipracha, samscha. So you can, after memorization and the word becomes a little bit easier, you can say like that. So this small 87-page book, people actually memorize this. and we will learn more about it. So memorization is not that hard. It can be done. Uh, some people have done it in 6 months to a year, but you need a good practice and a good routine, basically, that you can follow every day. If you do that, it's very handy, and you will learn more. I don't want to overwhelm right now, but um, as we learn, we realize that uh, having rules memorized is much preferred, because it's like learning arithmetics. You can still learn it, but it's really better if you know the tables up to 12 times 12, or 20 times 20, or 10 times 10 at least. So if we are in the same boat, you will eventually figure it out, the rules. But if they are in your head, the learning process becomes much easier. One of my teacher used to say, book has everything. All the knowledge in the world is in the book, all basically all in the books. But whatever is in your head is what matters. So having said that, I think if you can, I would encourage you to memorize. And for memorization, there are many audios available. Even I uploaded some on the YouTube. Or each sutra on this note has a sound. So basically, you can look here and say, okay, Vriddhiradaic, and you can play the sound. Okay. After this, let's briefly look at Panini's work. Maharshi Panini, he wrote 5 books, the main ones. Before this, there is another one called uh, Panini Siksha. Siksha is basically phonetic rules, basically, or you want to call it phonics. So that thing is a very small book. I think maybe about 100 or less uh, shlokas in there, and people memorize that as well. And that is the foundation, basically, to learn Sanskrit pronunciation. You cannot skip that. And there are many other lessons and videos available, and it basically. But we will touch on those areas as needed. And first, if you consider Panini Siksha, then that is the first book. And after that, we have first one is Ashtadhyayi, then Dhatu Patha, then Unadi Kosha, Ganapatha, Unadi Kosha, and Linganushasana. So these are the 5 books: Ashtadhyayi, Dhatu Patha, Ganapatha, Unadi Kosha, and Linganushasana. So we will be learning Ashtadhyayi, and in the Ashtadhyayi, each sutra, basically what we do is uh, first we memorize the sutra. We call it, this one is first one called Vriddhiradaic, and then we padacheda. Padacheda means breaking into different padas, different words. So is it a compound word or is it a single word? We have to look at, analyze it, and find out. You In this process, we cannot skip a single word. Each word has a meaning, has purpose. We cannot just skip one saying, "Hey, we didn't understand," and then go to the next one as a paragraph. Probably we'll understand it. Maybe it works in other languages, not on this one. Each one has a very unique purpose. And the analogy many teachers give is like, uh, if you look at a pearl garland or something, a pearl necklace or something, you cannot take a pearl bead from one place and replace it in another place. The moment you try to yank one pearl, you're gonna break the necklace and everything is gonna just shatter. So these 4,000 meta rules, they were uh, put together in such a way that you cannot alter the position of 2 meta rules. Just swap them up and down and say, hey, it'll be fine. It doesn't work that way. The moment you do it, you will ruin everything. It's that scientific and it's that structured. It's almost like a computer program written thousands of years ago, where you can't even break one line, and the moment you change something, you're gonna just crash the code. Okay, so this is first thing we'll do is break the letters and try to understand what is the purpose uh, of that letters, what the word means, and what are they trying to convey. And then we come back and see samasa. Samasa means any compound words like samasa. The definition of samasa is bahunam padanam militva ekapadbhavanam samasa. When multiple words come together to form one word, it's called samasa. We see this similar thing in English and any modern languages as well. It's television. Tele means far, vision means a sort of some sight or something. So anything that you're seeing that is happening far from your place, and you can call it television. And so basically it's an object that it shows you have things happening far away is called television. Similarly, uh, computer, you can say the one that computes. So these are little bit compounded words. You can take couple of different words and then join them together uh, and make a new word. So if there are any compounds like that, maybe we will look into it. To understand the compound, we have to break it into its constituents and understand the word meaning of each word and how the compound and basically the total compound meaning. Anuvritti. This is a very unique concept. I don't know if any other language has it. People can write back to me, but certainly I have seen many Indian languages and learn English. I have seen part of South Korean languages, and I didn't find this concept anywhere. Maybe Latin has it. I doubt it, but there could be some possibility. But so let's look at the Anuvritti. Anuvritti. Let's look in the book, so it'll be much easier to. Uh, I think third chapter is a very good starting point to understand Anuvritti. Let's see. So now let's see this word. Pratyaha means, okay, pratyaya. It's some kind of a technical name, pratyaya. We will learn more about it. Paraha, parascha means comes after. So this pratyaha is supposed to come after every sutra, and there are probably like at the end of the third chapter basically, so maybe about 1,000 sutras or 700 sutras or something like that. So what Panini did cleverly is, instead of repeating adyadasya pratyaya parascha, instead of saying like that, what he did is the repeating words that's supposed to come after every line, he just puts it on the top and he names them as adhikara. Adhikara means this one has the right to go to a certain extent. I think these two, they go till the end of fifth chapter. So you have literally out of 8, you have 3 chapters in which basically these two sutras go. So, for example, if you look at this sutra, it's like Guptich Kidbhyat San Pratyaya Parascha Bhavati. So these are the words, you know, uh, these are the dhatus. Let's example, and then after that, San Pratyaya comes. Okay, uh, Supa Atmanakyach, and then Kamyach. Anything basically. If you keep looking at every line is gonna come and get attached Pratyaya Parascha. So just to save the words, he instead of repeating every time, he decides to put it on the first sutra. And we have seen similar thing if you go on the let's see, what is this sixth chapter? No, yeah, sixth chapter. If you look here, let me, yeah, Angasya. See, this Anga word is supposed to come after every of this next meta rule. So instead of repeating halaha angasya nami angasya na trisri chatrasru angasya, instead of saying like that, he just took anga and he put it on the first sutra. Now, how do we know how far this thing will go? When the topic of anga ends, then basically the adhikara ends. And we just can't figure it out ourselves just by looking at it for the first time. But this thing is being taught like a teacher student arrangement in sort of a gurukulam traditional arrangement. Basically, a teacher teaches a student, and the student teaches the next student, and the tradition has been going on for generations. And that's how we will learn, where one starts and when one ends. So we'll be looking at the anuvritti concepts. Vakya Yojana, this is a Hindi equivalent I wrote there, and that being like there is a certain order, and I don't want to get into that order detail too much here. We will learn more, but see, you see these numbers. If you look at any other sutras, see the number changes. This is 6-3. Here it is 7-1-0-0. So there is an order for these words to put based on. These are called vibhakti. When we do the padacheda, we also do the vibhakti. Vibhakti is a very unique concept to Sanskrit as well. Like, so let's say, Rama's book. Okay, Rama's book. We call it Rama's book, right? So Rama's, we put the apostrophe here, right? In English, in Sanskrit, what this see it, this Rama was the doer basically, and this apostrophe s basically makes it okay. It's something else that is Rama's, right? So the question comes is what is Rama's? So then the answer comes is book. Similarly, in Sanskrit, it becomes Ramasya Pustakam. So see how Rama got transformed into Ramasya. So this is called Shashti Vibhakti. Similarly, there are many others like from Rama or in Rama, on Rama. So these are all we have these prepositions in English, but similar thing is there in Sanskrit as well. Of course, it's a language for human interaction. So everything that you find more or less in English, you will find in Sanskrit as well. So, uh, so what happens is the word gets transformed into a completely different form. Like, so if you look at this example, ikaha, see, ikaha. So, so the original word is ik, but when you take the shashti, the sixth form, it becomes ikaha. And we learn these as we learn more about the meta rules and everything. And then we have to have the meaning, and then I put here two meanings. One is Sanskrit, one is Hindi. It's not necessary. Sanskrit is enough, and maybe we will work out the English equivalent of it. And then to understand this, we have to give examples where that meta rule was used and what kind of words were derived. So these are the examples. Like for this example is bhagaha is a word. Now the question may ask, like what came first? Did the word come first, or did the where did Panini find, and how could he create all these meta rules? Basically, all these words, they came from Vedas. There are 4 Vedas. Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. These four Vedas, they're the word of basically came from the Creator, and that's a belief these traditional uh, school people hold, and uh, we couldn't find, or basically there is no other logical explanation, like where did these Vedas come from? Did human beings write it? Because there are no author, nothing. The language has no basically mistakes. Everything is like such a perfect. That level of perfection couldn't have come from human beings, is the assumption some people hold, and some people revere this because Vedas, if you look, they are all called Apaurushayam, because you cannot associate one person that he created these texts. You cannot pinpoint like this when you take a Bible or any other basically text. You can say, okay, these are done by John, or something like that. You cannot pinpoint any one individual with respect to Vedas, like he is the one who wrote the Vedas, because it doesn't exist. Then the obvious conclusion that's left to us is it must have come from somewhere. Maybe you can, if it gives you any excitement, you can call it came from alien civilization, which are far more advanced than we are. Or if you want to just like a traditional thought, you can just say they came from Lord Bhagavan, or they came from that higher being which has no name, form. Uh, the higher being that created the entire universe has also created the Veda. So now the question is, you can ask, okay, why should I believe like that? Well, it's free opinion, free speech. You have the right to believe or not to believe. But now the question is, at some point we have to believe that the universe was created. It randomly did not happen just just with a bang. Like where did the material for the bang came from? Well, singularity, black holes were holding. Well, we can go into all these speculative new theories, or everything is just, nobody knows exactly what happened. It's uh, just a thinking process that, okay, this is how it must have happened. So in they did the exact same thing, because if you look at everything that gets created must have a creator. Like, and the example some of the people they give is clay and the pot maker. Well, the pot maker can make a clay, so make a pot if the clay is available. So now we can say the universe was made by God, then the material must have been available to him. Because if the material itself, he transformed it, let's say uh, he was the clay, and then he created the pot maker and the pot, then the amount of clay might have went down, right? Because part of the initial was converted into the clay, and the part converted into into basically the pot maker. Then essentially your material, uh, you can come back and say the whole mass is same, but basically the god, or the initial supreme being, got reduced from his original point. Whatever the original he was, there was some kind of a depletion in his original content. Once you adapt that theory, then we have to conclude that the ultimate um, uh, superior god, or the creator, uh, it basically goes through the transformation. Then once you accept that the transformation happens within the god, then you have to accept that whatever was created will basically die as well. The time scale may be big, instead of 1 and 2 years, it could be 100 or 200 billion years, but eventually it'll die. And if it is dying, it cannot be the supreme reality. So we'll get into all these philosophical, fun, basically argument uh, to see where these things came from. And the reason I was telling these things is sort of a digression is, where did all these words come from? Did Panini create these basically meta rules and created these words, or the words were there, like the clay was available for the pot maker to do it? So there is a school of thought that believes there are three things, like a pot maker, a pot, and why would a pot maker make a pot? So somebody can use it, or he himself can't use it, right? So those are the three things they attributed to the universe. So there is basically you need a clay to make the pot, and a pot maker, and somebody else who's going to use the pot. With that analogy, what happens is, what are the essential material that was available? In Sanskrit, they were defined as three primordial uh, building blocks of the universe. They are called sattva, rajas, and tamas. These are the three names, three particles. They always exist, and the name of that is Prakriti. And the Supreme Being, who is created by these three, but he completely detaches himself and recognizes the three particles for who they are, and he literally sort of owns them. And that's why he can be a part of the world, and he can be completely out of the world as well. While staying into the world, in the world, he can be completely detached to the world, detached from the world. And the third one is basically like Jiva, they call it Jivatma. So we have Prakriti, Paramatma, and Jivatma. Prakriti is the three primordial particles, Sattva, Rajas, Tama. Paramatma is the supreme being, no name, form. You can you can attribute any name you like. You can call him Jesus, you can call him Allah, you can call him Rama, Krishna, or whatever you want to call it, because so that is the Paramatma, and then you have the three primordial particles, Sattva, Rajas, Tama, which is how the universe is composed of. So when God created this entire universe, these three particles were available to him. Similarly, when Panini created these meta rules, the words were available to him from Vedas, and he just put them together and they sort of created, imagined the meta rules. Like if you apply these sort of meta rules, you can start from this material and go to this word, and we will see that. And just to give you a flavor for it, Sanskrit is one language where basically everything comes from the word dhatu. Dhatu means the basically primary element, and that's why it is called dhatu pata. So this dhatu patha contains all the verbal roots, and this one, if you look here in this example, the verbal root is bhaja sevayam, and then they go through all these meta rules is applied, and it goes through the transformation, and basically you derive the word bhagaha. So the bhagaha word did not come after the derivation. It existed, just Panini imagined these many meta rules to start from here to go here. Like clay was available, bhaga was available. It's just the pot maker did some motions to convert the clay into a pot. Similarly, dhatus, basically he imagined the word is there, so he basically backtracked and created, okay, this is the dhatu. You can basically apply these meta rules and derive the word bhag. And we'll learn more about it as we go along. Okay, so that is sort of the overview of what's in this Ashtadhyayi method of learning. Now let's look at this one, and then we will just take a pause here, and that'll be the end of the video for this lesson. Okay, let's say the vowels, and this is a, A, I, E, U, U, R, R, L, A, I, O, Au, Ah. So let's say it again. A, A, I, E, U, U, R, R, A, I, O, Au, Aha. These are called swaras. Swara. The definition is Swayam Rajante iti Swara. See, they illuminate themselves. You don't need anything else to pronounce these sounds. You don't need any other letters to pronounce. And they are also called Akshara. Akshara. Naksharati. Then means once you start with something, let's say Mala, right? Mala means garland. So when you take Ma plus A plus L plus A becomes Mala. So when you do like this, then this Mala, this can be broken into these letters. And once these are broken into these, you cannot break any further. So beyond this, there is no kshara. They don't just deteriorate or get broken beyond these. That's why they are called akshara. Okay. So now after going through the swaras, let's say vyanjana. Vyanjana, the 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 key thing to remember is you cannot pronounce these all by itself. They always need some kind of a vowel to get associated. Usually we associate the common letter A in all these for pronunciation's sake. Otherwise, you have to write this as this is called halanta, halantachin, a symbol. So that means we will know why they are called halanta and everything in the next and subsequent classes. So so we always need a vowel to pronounce these things. Otherwise, we have to say this as k, k, g, g, g. Because if you take the sound out, then that's how you have to pronounce these as k, k, g, g, ng. So it's sort of you have to put an extra effort, and the language shouldn't be that hard. You shouldn't be putting a whole lot of effort to say it. It should come naturally and easily, and that's the whole purpose. So instead, so once you associate it becomes ka, kha, ga, gha, ng. Especially these two lines, people need to pay a lot of attention. Even people who are not native Indian speaking, or who primarily basically English speaking people. These are the words, they do not exist in English, and these are the letters, these five, these two rows, they do not exist. Because of that, it creates a lot of confusion. And even in India, so many parts of India, people don't pronounce these things correctly, and you know there is a reason that letter is there. So let's pronounce it uh, correctly. So okay, ka, kha. See how heavy the air is coming. These are called mahaprana. These are called alpaprana, and these are called nasalized. Half nasal. So we will see how they are. Let's try again without breaking, and we'll come back and look at these things. Ka, kha, ga, gha, ng, cha, cha, ja, jha, nya, ta, tha, da, dha, na, ta, tha, da, dha, na, pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. So, this is like, if you want to say Ganga, see, people started writing like this. If you write ga like this and put a dot, this dot represents this. This is not a sound of this is the sound of See how lips are tying here. When you say gung, your lips don't join. So that's your litmus test basically. Whenever you want to say, see, this is like your lips get joined at the end. Here it's like gung, gung. You literally your mouth stays half open at that state. So Ganga. So associate this. This is pancha. See, sound pancha. So people, these and these, they started associating with these letters, which is sort of wrong, because if he had to associate with this letter, why would Panini create these two? So that's why we have to be careful with the pronunciation. And then we have, and this one also, yeah, yeah, okay. Then we have, these are called antastha. So ya, ra, la, va. So say one more time. Ya, ra, la, va. Here there is a lot of confusion between these two. In South India, these two tend to sound like uh, these two tend to sound in the same frequency. In the North, these two sound in the same frequency. It's basically, let me try. I've been told many times that my pronunciation of this two resemble very close. Let's try it. This is sha. This is sha. It's And this is sa, ha. Sha, sha, sa, ha. So these are the alphabets, and that's how the alphabets are taught in the medium schools, basically. And they are very they are similar to Sanskrit, but we'll get there. Panini did not arrange these things in this order, and why we'll learn with subsequent classes. Let's say it quickly one more time. A, a, e, u, u, ru, ru, e, I, o, au, aha. Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. Cha, cha, ja, jha, nya. Ta, tha, da, dha, na. Ta, tha, da, dha, na. Pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. Ya, ra, la, va. Cha, sha, sa, ha. And in Hindi, they also teach this is ksha, tra, jya. So, but in Sanskrit, these three are not available. Okay. Then let's look at how Panini arranged it. Panini arranged it in this format. Okay. So this is called Maheshwara Sutra. So we will know more about this sutra in the next class, why it is called Maheshwara Sutra, and Let me. Okay. So a I un ril rik e ong I ouch haya varat lan न्यमगणनम झभई घड़धश जबगड़दश खफ छठत चटतव कपय शशसर हल इति माहेश्वराणि सूत्राणि. Let's say it one more time. A I un ril rik e ong I ouch haya varat lan न्यमगणनम झभई घड़धश जबगड़दश ख फ छ ठ थ चटतव कपय शशसर हल इति माहेश्वराणि सूत्राणि. So that's all I wanted to say in this class, and when we come back, we will learn more about uh, what is Maheshwara Sutra, what are the other basically alphabet related sounds that we need to master, sort of symbols we need to master to relate it to the sound, uh, and we'll look for uh, why Panini arranged these things in this order instead of sort of going with these going with this original arrangement of letters I mentioned before. So we will look into all those things in great detail, and then we'll proceed to the uh, to the lessons. Okay, let's conclude our class with a prayer. We call it Om 3 times. Om.